Hi, this is RoRo from RoRo Rants. I am recording this in my sewing room. This is one of my hobbies. I like to upcycle clothing. If you're not familiar with upcycling, I take old clothes that we don't use anymore or from thrift shops and I make them into other things. Like this was an old t-shirt of my husband's and this was just like an old skirt. And anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I am back and I've had a revelation. I had to take some time off since the last video, the one where I almost got blown away by hurricane force winds, where I was very confused about what the new progressives are. I had to stop making videos for a while because my head was very fucked up and I had to do a lot of reading and studying and watching other people's videos and talking to people and less of this. So anyway, I didn't even realize until after the election that things had changed so much. Before the election, I just thought we were still the left progressives. Like in 2011, the Occupy movement, when our heroes were Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Robert Reich, Michael Moore. Well, Bernie Sanders is still my hero. Anyway, I didn't know that the new progressives were trying to be nonpartisan and include right-leaning populist independents who were anti-establishment, and maybe they were the old Tea Party movement supporters who deserted it after they realized that it was funded by the Koch brothers, if that was even true. I don't even know now. But anyway, I mean, I did see some people in chats and on Facebook boards and stuff who said that they were right-wing. They said some stuff that was racist comments, or they said they were supporting Trump, and I just figured they were trolls because I thought, oh, we're progressives, we're left, right? But it really hit me like the day after the election. I was watching Sane Progressive and Debbie said that she had a lot of Republican subscribers. I put a link to her post-election video and I listened to it again and I didn't hear that part, so I don't know if I even have the right video, but the one I posted, you should watch it anyway because it's really good. I'm re-watching some of the videos I've already seen and I'm seeing them in a whole new light now since I've had this revelation. But when I heard that back then, Republicans, I freaked out. I was like, Republicans are subscribers? Am I on the right side? Am I watching the right people? I freaked out. Anyway, and then I remembered how at the march in DC, Bruce Carter was one of the speakers and he said how he endorsed Trump. And at the time, I just figured, well, most of us disagree with him, right? And I did hear a lot of gasps or groans. No boos, though. We weren't rude to him. I knew some people thought Trump was the lesser evil, and I considered Hillary the lesser evil, not by much, but just based on policy because of the left policies. But we were all voting for Jill Stein and Jean Baraka, so I really didn't care. And some of the independent journalists actually agreed with me that Hillary was the lesser evil. You know, I voted for Bernie in the primary and Stein Baraka in the general. I live in Maryland, it's a blue state anyway, so it didn't affect anything. But then when people were against the protesters and they were spreading the Republican rhetoric about them, I got really confused because I was like, okay, this is what we wanted, right? The reason we wanted Trump was so that they would wake up. And I made a video about the protesters where I was very upset and cussing and ranting, and that was when I got really upset. I didn't know what was going on. And then I heard another channel had Republican subscribers and I thought, well, maybe those channels are just pandering to the right or being nonpartisan so that they don't lose followers or subscribers or money. And I might have made some insulting comments about that. I might have pissed off a few people. But anyway, then another channel that I really respected told me that they agreed with them. And I started thinking, oh no, have I been listening to a bunch of Trump paid social media staffers or something? Maybe it was a conspiracy. I was really confused, really depressed. Am I following the wrong people? What's going on? I didn't know what to do. But When more and more of the progressive channels that I had been listening to agreed with them and not with me, I had to come to the conclusion that I must be the one that's wrong. So I had to, stop making videos and just start listening more and decide, am I going to still be a progressive? Or am I really just a liberal who is more left, like, Elizabeth Warren and Michael Moore and Bernie Sanders? And so I stopped making videos for a while and just did a lot of studying. And since November 10th, people, in the progressive movement have been trying to teach me about this new kind of progressivism. And you don't know what these people have been going through, trying to get it through this thick Italian Latina skull of mine. Because I can be really thick-headed. I'm stubborn. I know it. I'm outspoken. I'm opinionated. I know it. But I am so grateful for the patience that they've had with me. I just cannot express the gratitude. Steve Grumbine from Real Progressives. I mean, he taught me all the stuff about economics, which I always believed, but he's been answering my questions, sometimes all hours of the night. Joshua at the New Progressive Voice made 4 videos about what's liberalism, what is neoliberalism and progressivism, and I'm so grateful to him. I put the links below. Tim Black, well, it's too bad he lost patience with me, and sad to say I'm now banned from his site. But I take all the blame for that. He's a busy guy. He's got 80,000 subscribers, and he doesn't have time to teach everyone. He's not a teacher. That's not his job. I kept sending him long emails trying to explain what I was going through, how confused I was, and he just doesn't have time for that. He puts on 2 to 3 shows a day. I don't know how he does it. Plus he's doing all this other stuff. I really don't know how he does it. So I understand that he did not have time for my craziness because I was going crazy. Yeah, I'm a little crazy. Everybody's a little crazy, right? So, but as far as my craziness, I'll get that into that in another video. I'm also old and sick, and I'm on a lot of pain meds, and that doesn't help. But anyway, the problem was, now I've always been really progressive on economic issues. I always was. I agree with the Green Party platform that we should forget about the markets, the old capitalist economy altogether, and just leave it behind. Build our own communities. Like I said in other videos, I posted that meme with the quote, Buckminster Fuller. And to quote him, he said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." And that's how I feel about this. I think that the idea in the Green Party platform of building these new off-the-grid, self-sufficient communities where we all use renewable energy, aero farms to grow food, and find new ways to purify water and focus on survival instead of the economies and the markets and all that. Because climate change is real. Our species' existence on this planet is at stake. But that's for another video. I'm not going to go into that. But this model of self-sufficient communities could make the old military-industrial complex and predatory capitalism obsolete. So on economics, I'm way progressive. But I had a difficult time trying to get behind social progressivism. Now, here's a slide. This is from one of the videos from the New Progressive Voice. Joshua, and it describes social liberalism versus social progressivism. I kept thinking that it was about accepting racism, and I just could not overlook that. Part of it is that I have a biracial son, and the mama bear comes out, and I'm a Black Lives Matter activist, but I've been a civil rights activist even before I had my son, since about 4th grade, when we learned about slavery. I had a good teacher. She gave me a book this book, Slave Girl by Betsy Haynes. And if you're around my age, you may have read this book. It was based on the letters by Harriet Jacobs, but made for a grade school level. And it really affected me emotionally. Then I started reading on my own, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I went through a lot of changes in my life, but I'll make some other videos about my experiences and how they shaped my beliefs. But I thought that legally racism was solved after the Civil Rights Act and after desegregation that followed. I thought we won, it's over. Of course there's still racism. People will always be racist, but I thought the laws protected our rights legally. Then, when everyone got cell phones about 10 years ago and started posting all these videos of black men and teenagers being killed by police, I just lost it. I started posting Black Lives Matter stuff all over my Facebook. I started wearing a hoodie. Even my dog had to wear a hoodie. This is my dog in a hoodie. Because pit bulls understand they're victims of breedism. Over 1 million pit bulls are euthanized every year. And most of them are wonderful dogs, but because a small fraction of pit bulls are used in fighting, they have this bad rep. And it's not their fault that they're used in fighting. They don't want to fight, they just want to love, like any other dog. A family to love them, affection. Nina is the sweetest, cuddly little thing, and when I walk her, people cross the street. People scoop up their children like she's going to eat them whole. And she's great with kids. She would never hurt or bite anyone. She just wants to play like any other dog. Seriously, we were at the lake walking around the path, and this little girl comes running up to her to play with her, like, doggy, I want to pet the doggy. And their father did this slow motion run. No! Scooped her up like my dog was some kind of monster. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic here. I'd love to talk about my dog, but anyway, so I was stuck. I could not move forward, and that's why I have not made any videos since before, a little bit after the election. I still kept watching all the progressive channels and sharing videos, and then Monday night around 3 a.m. I was watching this Jimmy Dore video, and I finally saw the light. I posted the link to this video below, and he was playing a video of Mark Blythe, I think that's how you say it, who's a political scientist and a professor of international political economy at Brown University. And this economist predicted Brexit. He predicted Trump. He saw what's happening globally. The problems that we're having are not limited to the United States. All the European countries, many other countries around the world are going through the same thing. One country after another, because of globalization and because the corporations want cheap labor, and if workers rise up to fight them, the corporations just move somewhere else where the people are even more desperate and they're willing to work for even less money. And what happens? The income inequality. The rich get richer and everyone else is experiencing widespread poverty. And this is happening all over. And Jimmy Dore calls it predatory capitalism. They just move, the corporations just move from country to country, exploiting the labor. So if you watch from 7:37 to about 9:20, he talks about how neoliberalism has failed miserably. When millions of people are unhappy, angry even, this is what happens. We get Trump.
Dollars. I'll stop there.
So when I say that capitalism is failing worldwide, it's not hyperbole. Like, our society is failing worldwide. So we've all bought into this globalism, which is really predatory capitalism, which is a race to the bottom, which is who can I exploit next? Capitalism. And right now they're using a ton of prison labor right here in America. That's the wet dream of a corporation. To have prison labor, they can't organize, and they work for slave wages. So if you're still wondering what the fuck is going on in the world, Trump and Brexit, huh? France is going to be right wing? What? Greece, what happened? Huh? Italy, next. And they just keep sticking their head in the sand over and over and over and over. Keep letting our banks exploit our economies. Predatory capitalism. That's what this is. He's laying it out for you. So keep pretending it's sexism. Keep pretending it's... that's what we've always had those things. But keep ignoring that half the country in America is poor and in poverty. We pay twice as much for our health care. No one gives a shit. Everyone's like, yeah, I guess that's just how it is.
At 9 minutes, when he says, keep pretending it's sexism, that's where it finally hit me. Except instead of sexism, for me, it was racism. He said, keep pretending it's sexism. Keep pretending it's, we've always had those things. But keep ignoring that half the country in America is poor and in poverty. We pay twice as much for our health care. And he goes on. So what I've had a big revelation is about, yes, right, racism, sexism, these are all problems. But these economic problems, the globalization, the predatory capitalism, these are bigger problems than anything else. Not the old capitalism. Now, that worked for many years with the unions and the workers' rights, with good wages that supported a middle class and on one income, and we had benefits and retirement plans. But this predatory capitalism is the monster. And this one issue can unite all of us. We need to unite all of us, all the poor people, against the two parties, because neither party is going to change it. They are both corrupt. Both parties are corrupt. Okay, it's like if your house is burning down and you go into the kids' room to get them out and they're all arguing. She slapped me. Well, he pulled my hair. Yeah, these are important issues. But right now, we don't have time to argue about that because we got to get the fuck out of this house because it's burning down and we're all going to die. Okay? Maybe when we get our new house, we'll get you some separate bedrooms and we'll make some new rules. But right now, we don't have time to talk about this. We got to get the fuck out of this house. So the house is burning down. If we sit right here in this room where we're all fighting amongst ourselves, we're just going to die and burn down the house. And even worse, what if we're the children and the arsonist who started the fire is another kid who slept over and he hates us? And he manipulated us to get into the fights because he wants us to die in the fire. And he already ran off with all our video games and he's gone to safety, laughing at our dumbasses still fighting in the bedroom about the fight he caused and dying in the fire that he lit. So we're the children stuck in the room fighting about important things, yes, but there's a bigger threat right now. All around us, the house is burning down. And the arsonist manipulated us into the fight so that we'd be stuck in that room fighting about other things and not realizing that the whole house is burning down around us. So I got a little carried away with that. But anyway, so to get away from the analogy and back to real life, both parties are corrupt. They keep us divided into the two parties, left and right, and Democrats and Republicans. And the Democrats they've been using our hate of the racists, the deplorables, to divide us the same way that the Republicans use the hate of all those racists to divide us from them. They keep us divided. Keeping us divided, we lose. This is what happens. It's Martin Luther King's message all over again. I get it now. This is the revelation. I get it now. You know, I've said this before, you know, Martin Luther King didn't get assassinated because he was a civil rights activist. That's not why. Martin Luther King got assassinated because he was trying to unify all the poor people. Black, white, Native American, Latino, Asian, everybody. That was the real threat that the government saw. The government wants to keep us divided. We have to resist that now. We have to come together in love and unity. I may not always agree with all of my brothers and sisters in this country, but I have to remember that you are all manipulated by the media, the same media that I've been manipulated by. We may disagree, but we're still one nation, one big family, and I don't want any of us to burn down. We need all of us together to fight this monster called predatory capitalism. I have to say, personally, I don't like the things Donald Trump stands for. He's corrupt too. And if you think he was going to save us, he's not. Just look at the things he's doing. Look at the people he's hiring. He's not going to save us. Both parties corrupt, and he's a Republican. He's appointing all Republicans. But anyway, I don't like the things he stands for, the racism, the sexism, but I'm going to try like hell not to get all spun up every time he farts or takes a shit or busts a nut, because you and I both know that every little thing he does, the liberal media is going to be right there calling him out on it, blowing it all out of proportion. We have to resist getting caught up in the reality show bullshit that is the mainstream media and the shit that they're going to try to feed us on either side. We have to focus on the big issues. We have to choose our battles. When he tries to do things that really hurt our cause, that is when we protest like hell. And if he does do something extreme, like try to make a Muslim registry, well, we'll cross that bridge if we ever get to it, because I don't think we'll ever be able to do it, because it's unconstitutional. We really have to focus on economics right now. Steve Grumbine from Real Progressives is right. Our house is burning down, and all the houses around the world are burning down too. And, excuse me, we have to put out the fire before we can solve any of the other problems. In other words, neoliberalism, predatory capitalism is failing around the world. Our economies, our societies are failing. Once we solve the economic problems, everything else will just fall into place, because a lot of these other problems are just created by the media anyway. Until we band together and solve this, nothing else really matters. So this is RoRo Rants. Please like and subscribe. I don't make any money off this. I just want to know you're out there and watching me to encourage me. Thanks.